Jumpstart the weekend, because The View is live. The Defiant Dozen. The 12 GOP senators who teamed up with Democrats to reject the president's emergency declaration.
The joint resolution is passed.
Could this spark a Republican revolution against Trump? California Governor Gavin Newsom on his historic decision to kill the death penalty in California, and the president's angry response. And it is Feel Good Friday on View Your Deal. The House of Hot Topics is in session with Whoopi, Abby Huntsman, Joy Behar, Sunny Hostin, Meghan McCain, and Ana Navarro. Now, let's get things started.
Oh, wonderful. How old are you today?
I am 27 years old.
Oh, happy birthday. He's just high on life, the guy. My goodness.
That's so
nice. Come back every day. So, you know, everybody's in a good mood, but I have to start with a sad thing, and then we'll move on, because there was a terrible thing that happened in New Zealand. Maybe you read about it. And our hearts are just broken over the act of terror that claimed 49 lives in 2 New Zealand mosques. 3 people are in custody right now, and keep watching ABC News as this story unfolds. It's just awful. It's scary. The whole world is a little scary right now, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, so now you can get back to being happy again. I mean, we're sad for them, but what are we going to do? It's terrible. Here's politics. Most Republican senators stood by as Trump's Muslim ban took place, his gutting of environmental law and immigration policies that separated families at the border, put kids in cages. But it looks like there finally could be some turning. 12 GOP senators aligned with Democrats. Imagine that. To reject his emergency declaration for the border wall. Trump made it clear what he plans to do about it, tweeting, veto. Does he think that's a person from Italy, or does he veto?
I think he was trying to say veto. with the hand emoji.
That's about right. So now what happens? He vetoes that, and now they have to have 2/3 to overthrow it, right? Override the veto in the whole Congress, right?
Well, right, in both houses, and they're probably not going to get there. The likelihood that they get there is very slim. This is being challenged in court, so we're probably going to see court action as it goes through the courts. You can explain that more. But look, to me, these 12 senators, I know a lot of them, were not aligning with Democrats. They were aligning with their principles and their convictions and their spines for once.
Yeah.
You know, they were remembering that this is not about being a rubber stamp for a president because he happens to be of your party, but rather being and behaving as an independent, co-equal branch of government. He is usurping the power of the legislative. He is setting a bad precedent.
Well, the Congress is responsible for the purse strings. That's in the Constitution.
Exactly.
Right. So they are basically giving up. I mean, people who are constitutional strict on Constitution, like Ben Sasse and Ted Cruz, are both saying, forget the Constitution, I'm sticking with this president. Why?
They're up for re-election. This highlights to me the worst part of politics. I think this represents the worst, because you're putting your election and your party before what you feel is best for this country. Tom Tillis is a perfect example of that in North Carolina. He wrote an op-ed just a few weeks ago saying that against this, saying that it was intellectually dishonest. Yeah. And then just fast forward to yesterday, he voted against it because he's up for re-election. Wow. So there are over 20, I believe, Republicans up for re-election in 2020. The only one that voted against this was Susan Collins.
Yeah. She's up for re-election.
She's up for re-election. So I give her a lot of kudos because
Do you?
Either way, she's in Maine, which is
Maine, not Vermont,
which is
right.
not the most conservative state, but she could get flack for voting either direction on this. I wish I saw more Republicans that were up for re-election voting this way, because then it shows you care more about this country than it does about yourself and about political
But what do you
parties.
think they're scared? Are they scared just of that they're not going to get reelected, or is there other fear? Are they afraid of Trump and his wrath and the fact that he calls people names
That
and
may
goes
be
after
part
them?
of it, but if you consider yourself a strict constitutionalist, then there is no way that you could vote in line with Trump, because the two can't coexist. But I think what may be interesting is when you look at this winding up in the courts, you know, you have these three separate but equal branches of government. And so the courts, I think, are going to look at the legislative intent behind this, because the legislative intent is really clear. You have the House, you have the Senate, and they're saying we don't agree with the executive branch. We don't agree with the president. And so what are the courts going to do with it, I think is going to be very, very, very interesting.
I see.
And on the legal angle, there's a court action that's been started by an alliance of 20 states being led by
Yes,
Javier
yeah.
Becerra, the Attorney General
16
of
states.
California.
16
Yeah, but this is,
states.
by the way, this is what Trump
And they
wants.
blocked.
Trump knew
they
from the
voted.
beginning that he would probably likely have to veto this. And with his base, he's thinking, this is exactly what I need to do to show them that I'm going to stand strong on the border, because now it will go to the courts. And we know that takes a long time. So this will go likely well into the 2020 race,
I
which
think that's
he
right.
sees as an advantage, I think, for himself politically.
I think that's right.
Okay.
Yep.
You have anything to say on this, Matt?
I agree with what Abby just said, that everybody's playing politics all the way around. I will say, when you're talking about people like Mike Lee and Rob Portman, they are strict constitutionalists, and Mike Lee, I would say, is probably, I mean, he was rumored to be up for the Supreme Court. He's one of the most, deeply dedicated to the Constitution of, I think, any politician
Is
probably
he a Tea
serving.
Party guy?
No, I would say he sways more libertarian. But I'm just saying, the question I wanted to pose to the table was, does this change your mind about Republicans now in any way? That there are 12 people.
I'm more hopeful that they'll start to see the light and start to really realize what's going on in the country.
Yeah, but you know what? Democrats, if this were reversed, I promise you, Democrats up for re-election would have, some of them would have voted, if this were under Barack Obama, would have voted in
Maybe. You
favor
don't know
for their
that. That's
hypothetical. No, because there's
You don't
politics
know.
on both sides.
But I think
you don't know, though. You don't know that. It never happened before.
But I think that's why people get so cynical about politics, because of the inconsistencies of politicians depending who is in power. And so if you are against the executive actions and the emergency orders by Barack Obama, then you've got to be, hold the same convictions. And the same thing goes on both sides.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, I also think what constitutes an emergency, we should maybe make a baseline for this, which I think should be hurricanes, God forbid, terror attacks, things that are actual emergencies.
Well, that's the thing. When a Democrat is in power,
that is the point, is that if it's reversed.
Have one more school shooting, and that'll be the end
You
of
know it's an emergency,
the
'cause
AR-15.
he's only played golf 5 times since declaring it instead of 12.
Yeah, right? How is it an emergency? That makes sense.
All right. Okay. What are we talking about when we come back? I can't read this. I mean, they're telling me what we're talking about. Oh, Whoopi's surprise visit. Yeah, she was here yesterday, and we had such fun with her. We'll be right back. Whoopi is still on the mend. We're hoping she'll be back here maybe next week. We'll see. Hurry back, Whoopi, and get wet.
Yes, we love you, Whoopi.
On ABC.
Still ahead, California Governor Gavin Newsom reveals why he made the controversial call to stop the death penalty in California. And it's Feel Good Friday on View Your Deal.
So I think that I have a little bit of bad feelings about how I set up and talked about that New Zealand tragedy. I think I sounded as though I was just like flippant about it, and I'm not. I'm very upset about it. It's just that in this job, it's hard to make these transitions. So if I came across a little brittle, it's only because, you guys are happy and a sad, terrible thing has happened. I really feel bad about it.
And you came in this morning irate about
Yeah.
I was
what happened.
horrified by it, you know, and it's a white supremacist doing it again, and I worry about it in this country.
And look,
And the whole thing
shows
is
you
terrible,
that-
but when you're sitting in this chair,
hard.
you know, you have to make that transition to something fun, and
Yeah.
it's not easy to do, so.
Particularly on a Friday when all of you guys are so incredibly
And this guy's having a
happy,
birthday.
and he's
I know.
right. So no,
and then
it's not easy.
Well, and I was upset this morning when we were talking because I dropped my son off on a service trip, an international service trip, and when we were driving to the airport, I was hearing about this, and so I came in visibly distressed because I can't believe that this is going on yet again, this bigotry and this hate and these shootings all over our world.
Yeah, you know, it's just a poignant reminder that we've got to condemn bigotry wherever it raises its ugly head, because there is no creed, there is no nationality, there's no race that is immune from acts of terror.
Well, especially New Zealand, when you think about a place that's not on the top of your list of this to happen, and it does. And to your point, it makes you realize every day you got to wake up, you got to be grateful for life. You know, we had Whoopi here yesterday. Another reminder of just Megan reminds us all the time on the show. You know, don't take it for granted. But we also we're in this together. Whether you're in New Zealand, whether you're in any part of this world, we care for you. And it doesn't mean that you don't have a heart, you don't care based on the
I do agree that bigotry has to be called out whenever you see it, however you see it. Agree. New Zealand in particular, you know, guns are banned in New Zealand. So there's obviously conversations to be had regarding that as well. Yes, and it was obviously smuggled in or caught on the black market. But I will say that I think it's easy sometimes to come in, and I agree with you, Joy. It's hard. There's a wonderful audience in front of us. 2 gentlemen from Prescott, Arizona, sitting right in the front. We want to have a good time, and it's hard to make the transition. So I completely understand what happened.
Just the other thing is that there were, you know, in mosques, a place of religious worship, and I think that also should be the safest place where you're worshiping.
I worry about the hatred, because a friend of mine said when you're consumed with hatred, you lose your conscience.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I would agree with
Listen,
that.
somebody that goes into a, Tree of Life synagogue in Philadelphia or a mosque in New Zealand
church in
are
Charleston.
are full of hatred, but are also insane.
Okay, well, so we mentioned that yesterday. Shall I do it now? Whoopi, we had this backstage footage to show you. So she proved she still knows how to make an entrance, the girl, okay? She came in, she knocked us out of our seats. Whoopi Goldberg appears from her bed, and we were just like, we were shocked by her. We did not know that she was coming on the show.
I was running like Ronald Reagan just walked in the door. Running toward her. I was like, Whoopi!
I actually haven't moved that fast my entire pregnancy.
I was worried you were going to labor.
But you know what? If there's one person that can make you feel that way, it's Whoopi Goldberg. She provides such a joy, and you guys all know this at this table, and she's been so missed, and only she could surprise us in that fashion.
I thought that particular part was so touching for all of us, because this is an entire team that you don't see behind the scenes in the control room, and everybody loves Whoopi, and everybody was emotional, crying. I mean,
I have to say, Whoopi is one of the most generous people I have ever met. She's like my aunts that I grew up with. You say to her, I like that bracelet. Here I know. They hand it to you. She's like,
Joy, I went to, she gave me a toilet seat today.
Really?
Yes.
You see what
Because I went to her house, and this woman has got toilets. I mean, these toilets, those toilets are warm up.
And they're
She
heated
gave me a toilet seat.
They're heated toilet seats. She actually has given me shoes, my children's shoes. She has this fabulous
shoe. Toilet seat? They'll always have a place
I haven't gotten a toilet seat from her, but I think for me,
I gotta see if it's got a monogram.
what was so incredible was the last time I saw her, she was really not doing well, and to see her walk in like that, it brought me to tears.
She's doing much better.
She's doing great.
We love you, Whoopi.
We're rooting for you. We'll be right back.
She was once the youngest self-made female billionaire.
If she had made this work, she would have been the next Steve Jobs.
But was it all based on a big lie?
Elizabeth Holmes charged with massive fraud. Her company, Theranos.
She was ethically corrupt.
Her denials of any wrongdoing.
This is the testimony of Elizabeth Holmes.
The Dropout airs tonight at 9 p.m. 8 Central on ABC.
From the, we're doing this? Oh, we're doing this. I thought we were doing the bride. All right, I'm doing the bride.
Wait, just really quick. It is Australia that has banned guns, not New Zealand. It's my correction.
Australia bans
Australia
guns,
did
not New Zealand. New
yes.
Zealand has guns.
Yes.
Okay, we got that straight. Okay, here we go. Let's do this one. I like this story better because it's common knowledge that you do not upstage the bride at her wedding, right?
Right.
But one bride, I don't know who she is, she was on Yahoo or someplace, she said that's exactly what happened to her. One of her bridesmaids was pregnant and kept sticking her belly out in every wedding photo.
What else are you supposed to do? It's sticking out anyway.
I know. Don't you think that you should say, I don't want to be a bridesmaid right now? I'm too busy. No? As the bride, I would say, look, it's enough with you. But you know...
Wait, so you're telling me if you got married today,
yeah,
and I would be one of your bridesmaids,
yeah, but
you would say, I'm not going to have you part of this time.
Well, I feel as though the dress is not going to fit you. You're not going to fit.
No, it's like good luck. It's probably good luck.
It's good luck to upstage the bride.
No, to have a pregnant person in your wedding.
I'd make you look good.
Good luck.
That's good luck. From what century is that?
I know. It's so cute.
I'm also not going to make it about me, like a photo shoot for my baby. You know, there's a difference in like just standing there.
Out, you know, with like a Beyonce. Remember when she had that like flowing thing? She was pregnant with the twins.
I could do that, but I would never do that to you, Joy. I would let you own it.
I would never do that to you, Joy.
I would let you own it.
I don't know.
She couldn't come to my wedding because she was pregnant.
Yeah, I
got
delivered a few days
married,
later.
like right when she was giving birth.
You know what the bride should do? She should show up when
you were invited.
I know.
I was.
And I didn't do bridesmaids, so.
I thought about you, too. I was like, I don't want to, you know. But no, I actually delivered like 3 days after you got married.
But what she should do, the bride, is show up when she's giving birth in her wedding gown. Go to the hospital like a bride.
Awful.
I know.
I'm not doing that, Abby.
No.
That sounds awful.
Anna, you want to talk about your girlfriend, Gloria?
Yes. So Gloria and Emilio Estefan, a couple of nights ago, got the Gershwin Prize for Popular Music. It's the first time a married couple gets it. It's the first time Latinos get it. I'm so proud of them. They are really what makes America great. They do so much for this community. They do so much for Miami, and they do so much for the world. So, felicidades, Gloria y Emilio.
Oh, that is wonderful.
Beautiful.
And they are a lovely, lovely couple.
Okay.
I hung out with them so much.
Did you have any pregnant bridesmaids, Anna?
I'm old. All my best friends have shriveled ovaries just like me. we couldn't.
I thought they were going to show the picture of the mother who came all pizzazzed up. It's like the mother of the bride. Do you have that picture handy? Where's that picture of the mother? Gee, look at this. No, that's Gloria Estefan.
The bride.
Whose mother is that? This is the mother of the bride suggested outfit.
Joy, that's the mother of the bride. If the bride is Wednesday Addams.
That would upstage a bride.
Oh, the Addams family. Morticia.
That would upstage a bride.
The show is called Bridezilla, not Mother of Bridezilla, okay? What is
happening? Would you rather a pregnant bridesmaid or your mother to wear that dress at the
wedding? A pregnant bridesmaid.
Yes.
I don't want to be humiliated by that.
Right?
No. Okay, we'll be right back.
Why did California Governor Gavin Newsom put a stop to the death penalty? And did he really say this to President Trump?
I just want to tell you, you're a great president, and you're one of the smartest people I've ever met. That's what he said.
Find out, because he's live on The View next.
California Governor Gavin Newsom is making headlines for his historic call to end the death penalty in his state, which has met with angry tweets from the White House. This comes on the heels of his threat to take Trump to court to stop a border wall in California. We have a lot to talk about with him, so please give a very warm welcome to California Governor Gavin Newsom.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
You're even tall in the chair.
Yeah, well, it is. Yeah.
Yes.
No, it's I can squeeze down.
So, Governor, let's talk politics. On Wednesday, you signed an executive order to impose a moratorium on the death penalty in California.
Yeah.
Essentially suspending it for the duration of your term as governor. Which is a very controversial move. Why did you decide to do
Look,
that?
we have more people on death row than any other state in the nation. We have more than anyone else in the Western Hemisphere. 737 people. Just put it in perspective, if you were me, I would be asked to sign off on one death every single day for 2+ years, one a week for 14 years, knowing that at least 4% of those 30+ people were innocent. We had a person 26 years on death row that was just exonerated last year. I can't in good conscience do that. I just can't do that.
I have to say, as a former prosecutor, I agree with your decision, because I know how flawed the system is. And I believe that one innocent person going to death is just not worth it.
Yeah.
That being said, 53% of Californians voted against abolishing the death penalty in 2016. And in fact, they also voted to speed up the process.
Yeah.
So what do you say to the people of your state who feel that your executive order is basically going against the will of the people?
And the will of the people also allows for the governor to reprieve, to allow for a moratorium. I'm afforded, pursuant to the Constitution, the ability to make this determination, to make this decision. Look, I don't do this lightly. I don't do it flippantly. I have deep respect and admiration for people who have a different point of view. But at the end of the day, when I'm sitting there talking to my kids, I have 4 young kids, and my daughter says to me, "You teach us not to kill." And yet, here I am, in a premeditated way, killing other people.
We can't do it.
On behalf of the state. I just can't do that.
What if the DNA proves that the person, a heinous criminal, has committed like child's rape or assault? I mean, something so horrible, and it matches in the DNA.
We don't rape someone that's raped. Why do we kill someone that's killed? Look, the bottom line is we can punish people. I'm not suggesting people that do things that are heinous and outrageous don't deserve to be punished. They absolutely do, but there's other ways to punish people.
But what would you say
than to put them to death?
There's a difference in people just disagreeing with the policy and people that have lost someone they love because of a monster.
Yeah.
A serial killer, a mass shooter.
That's right.
I know you've probably had these conversations with family members. Speak to them right now, the parents, someone that said, my baby was now gone because of someone who is a complete monster, and now you're going to let them continue to live. What do you say to that parent?
I had 12 of those instances in the last week. Nothing more difficult, nothing more painful than to try to put myself in the shoes of someone else. For the grace of God, go any of us to be in that position. Remarkably, though, I met a number of parents that said the following: you don't have the right in my daughter's name to take another life. You will not be doing this for our family. She said, you'll be doing this to our family. We are done with violence. We need to move on. And so good people have different points of view. It's difficult. Another parent said the opposite, said you have responsibility to eradicate evil.
But what do you tell that the parent, though, that still disagrees? I don't have closure.
What do you say to the one that says you have to eradicate evil?
I literally said there's nothing I can do to bring your child back. There's nothing I can say to change your point of view. The fact is, though, I'm entrusted to do something much broader than just address one individual case. I've got to address a system that is race-based system of tremendous injustice for black and brown people. It's just a fact. Look, I mean, you've heard this before, but it's the truth. And it goes deep to the issues that we've been debating and you guys have been talking about here as it relates to what's going on with wealth and privilege as it relates to admissions in colleges. The fact is, you're better off in this country, you've heard this before, of being rich and guilty. You're treated better if you're rich and guilty than if you're poor and innocent in the criminal justice system. It's really true.
There's no question about that.
And Paul Manafort, all of this. And so, look, we've had 164 people that have been on death row that have been exonerated. 164.
Just in the state of California.
No, in this country.
In the country?
In just this country since 1973. The fact is, there are literally hundreds of people on death row right now that are there for crimes they did not commit. And again, it's not an intellectual conversation. I have to sign off on that execution. And in an effort to do that, you have to dig deep. And this becomes a moral issue. It's a very emotional issue. And it's very difficult to have you spot on to be able to look at someone, the victim family, that says, I need this for closure and not provide that. This is tough.
Can we talk about another issue which disproportionately affects your state, which is immigration? When Donald Trump declared a national emergency over the border, you withdrew the National Guard, the California National Guard, and you said to him, we'll see you in court, which I think it has, in fact, already begun to happen. So what do we do about the border? As a border state, what is the solution, do you think?
Well, let me just say this. I pulled the National Guard because I didn't want to be part of this political theater. I pulled the National Guard because we do not have a national emergency. I pulled the National Guard because I wanted to push back against Trump, as we have 47 lawsuits against the Trump administration. Not because we wake up every morning choosing to advance those suits, but because we stand up for our principles and our values. I represent the most diverse state in the world's most diverse democracy. We practice pluralism.
You do.
We're a universal state, and I want to have the backs of the citizens of my state, and I want to put a human face on this issue. And the human face, for me, are those asylum seekers coming here legally, through the ports of entry, legally coming in with their children, that seek nothing more than the things we take for granted in this country. And I'm not going to step over them on the streets and sidewalks. I'm not going to diminish them by talking down to them or past to them. I want to elevate the human spirit. That's what California represents, and I think that's what America represents at its core. We reject Trump and Trump.
You know, you and I agree politically on probably nothing. And instead of, thank you for one person clapping for me. But you know what? When I knew you were coming on, I love your wife, because your wife, she has this incredible documentary called Misrepresentation that came out when I was in my early 20s, and it's actually a documentary that I've told other women in media to watch, because it focuses on when I'm sitting here, we're sitting here, and a woman says something that's aggressive or political, or I ask you a hard political question, it will be covered in a different way than if a man asks you a hard political question.
Yep.
That documentary came out a while ago. I don't think that much has changed.
No.
What do you think the problem is, and the problem that your wife's so duly focused on in her documentary?
First of all, thank you for acknowledging. I married a rock star. I'm so blessed by my wife.
You're a rock star.
No, hardly, but she really is, because she's getting the core of all of these issues, which goes to the issues of toxic masculinity, which goes to the issue of hyper masculinity, which goes to explaining a lot of the politics that exist today. But what she has fundamentally posited is the following. I think it's a response to your question. That is, we don't value in society what we feminize. And what we feminize is care, collaboration, and empathy. And think about a society that doesn't value care, doesn't value empathy and collaboration. And that goes to the core of the issues we're having in this country. And by the way, the biggest issue we're having in this country, the crisis of boys. The fact is, I would argue the most dangerous words in the English language are man up. Be a man. Don't be a sissy.
Right.
And we hear that all the time. And what happens is that young child puts a mask on and their face grows in it to become how society expects them to behave. And what we have as a society is a crisis of suicides, disproportionately men, issues related to dropouts and binge drinking, all these issues, one thing in common, including mass shootings, men.
Well, would you tell her for me? I hope she doesn't follow up to it, because I don't think that much has changed, and it's a really important documentary. And I'm glad I saw it when I was in my early 20s.
Yes.
I love that. Thank you.
Yes. You're going to be running for president?
No.
You?
It's good not to have a presidential candidate.
Not this time around.
2024 pick.
Thanks to Governor Gavin Newsom, and we'll be right back.
Thank you.
Next week, Marcia Clark brings her view to the Hot Topics table. And fresh off her spectacular buzzed about wedding, Priyanka Chopra Jonas is hanging with the ladies. Then, he was fired by the Trump administration. Now, what will Preet Bharara say when he comes to The View? And Friday, a View exclusive. Her husband did the unthinkable, and then she surprised everyone by standing by his side. Now, actress Maddie Corman speaks out. Get ready for one powerful and dramatic week on The View. On AB to R. Kelly's sexual abuse allegations. And if her new series, The Fix, was inspired by the OJ trial. Plus, a brand new Oprah edition of View Your Deal.
Welcome back. So believe it or not, we have time for one small hot topic. You may think that going on separate honeymoons is a big red flag for the marriage. Believe it or not. Some couples told the New York Times that's exactly what they did. Is it even a honeymoon if you're going on separate vacations? Isn't that an oxymoron, separate honeymoons?
Is this right after the wedding?
Right after the wedding. It's a honeymoon.
Good luck with that marriage.
Yeah.
That's very strange.
Well, look, I think a lot of people here. Did you do this?
My husband and I have been in the biggest fight for the past 6 months over the fact that he's leaving me for 10 days when I'm 30 weeks pregnant. He's going on a golf trip. Now I can shame him on national television. I have cried about it. I've threatened him.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? I could never leave for 10 days.
Yeah.
And it's been this argument. He's going with his dad and his brother. It's a bucket list thing. I'm happy for him, but I'm also irate about it. I'm sorry, but women can't get away with leaving for 10 days and leave the dad by himself.
Especially
That's
show
what
me the part about where you're happy for him. Let's play the happy
I'm so happy for you, honey. Enjoy every day that
But
you're
who's
gone.
going to be with you in case you pop? You.
I'm going to call you guys.
Yeah,
I have all your numbers.
Megan, you'll take care
Be
of
on
this,
call
right?
that
promise
week.
I'll take care of her. Yeah.
Megan is a midwife on the side. Did you know that?
I can't even nurture my practice.
And
I don't know.
you haven't even taken your honeymoon yet.
No, because, hell, I have to work and pay for that wedding.
But don't you want to do what you want to do on your honeymoon? Like, one of the reasons why Ben and I got married, hands down, is because we like the exact same things. So I wanted to go to Montana for our honeymoon and go shooting and archery and fishing.
He's very cute.
Thanks. He's a cowboy. I love my husband. But I'm just saying, part of being together as a couple, even when we hate each other and we're fighting, we still like to do the same things.
That's good.
So I always want to hang out.
Yeah.
On our honeymoon, I specifically was like, I found a man who will go fishing with me, shooting with me, will get dirty with me outside, and then we can, go on our honeymoon together, and it'll be fun.
It's pretty
so
simple.
I think it's important.
If you don't want a vacation with the person that you just married, you probably shouldn't marry that person.
You shouldn't have gotten married.
Like, don't get married in the first place.
I agree. Separate vacations are okay,
Getting
but
married
that's
after
it.
years of living together, you almost need a vacation from that other person.
Maybe that's why. Maybe they've been together.
That's the problem.
You
But
came
don't
here
call it a
2 days
honeymoon.
later.
No.
Right, well, yeah, I mean, you got married at 22. I'm getting married at 47. Of course I'm going to work.
Okay. All right.
There you go.
We'll be right back.
They come.
Up next, Feel Good Friday, starting your weekend off right. We partnered with vendors for at least half off irresistible products you'll want to use every day. Jumpstart the weekend, because The View is live. The Defiant Dozen. The 12 GOP senators who teamed up with Democrats to reject the president's emergency declaration.
The joint resolution is passed.
Could this spark a Republican revolution against Trump? California Governor Gavin Newsom on his historic decision to kill the death penalty in California, and the president's angry response. And it is Feel Good Friday on View Your Deal. The House of Hot Topics is in session with Whoopi, Abby Huntsman, Joy Behar, Sunny Hostin, Meghan McCain, and Anna Navarro. Now, let's get things started.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to The View.
Under the table, sir.
Oh, my God.
We love you back.
Oh,
Wonderful.
How old are you today?
Oh, happy birthday.
he's just high on life, the guy.
I know.
My goodness.
That's so
Okay.
Come back every day.
So, everybody's in a good mood, but I have to start with a sad thing, and then we'll move on, because there was a terrible thing that happened in New Zealand. Maybe you read about it. And our hearts are just broken over the act of terror that claimed 49 lives in 2 New Zealand mosques. 3 people are in custody right now, and keep watching ABC News as this story unfolds. It's just awful. It's scary. The whole world's a little scary
Terror
right now,
and
isn't it?
bigotry.
Yeah. Okay, so now you can get back to being happy again. I mean, we're sad for them, but what are we going to do? It's terrible. Oh, here's politics. Most Republican senators stood by as Trump's Muslim ban took place, his gutting of environment.